Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to share my interview tips that helped me land all these offers. I went from embarrassing myself out, literally sweating in the interview, to the point of getting an offer extended to me during the interview. Hopefully what I share is helpful to you. Let's get into it. A mistake I see people make often is thinking if they say the right thing during the interview, they will be fine. But in reality, the process starts long before the actual interview. Preparation is the key to standing out. A few practices that really helped me. Number one, have your email signature set up professionally. In your email setting, you can find the signature section. Remember to have your full name, school, email address, phone number so the HR can reach out to you if needed. Next, reach out for coffee chats on your LinkedIn. Use your school name or the company name to find alumni and professionals in the role you are pursuing. Alumni are more likely to help out. Send them a polite and professional message requesting a coffee chat to know more about the role and the company culture. I also like to ask, what's the most important thing that will help me succeed at the job? If you care about work-life balance, this is also a good time to ask about it. Next, it's important to prepare for behavioral questions. There are questions like, tell me a time that you overcome a challenge. These questions are designed to assess how you've handled specific situations in the past. I've included a list of common questions in the comment. You can use the STAR method to structure your story. That is, situation, task, action, and results. You can describe the context, talk a little bit about the tasks you were given, what actions did you take, and describe the results, best with metrics. I have an example in my last video, the resume guide, to show you how to exactly write a nice bullet point with metrics. This will go hand to hand with my next point, which is review the job description thoroughly. You want to highlight the key traits on that job description and maybe print one to carry with you during the interview. Say if being detail-oriented is emphasized in the job description, then you wanted to recall a time when your attention to detail led to a positive outcome. Take a clear, professional-looking photo and add it as your profile picture to your email and your LinkedIn. Remember to wear a nice shirt or a suit. You don't need a professional photographer for this. Mine was taken by my college roommate. You can always add it to your photos afterwards. Remember to create a LinkedIn profile. You can add more details than your resume. Add details like volunteer work, interests, and detailed experiences to show both of your professional and personal sides. Lastly, prepare a list of questions to ask, because likely the last question from the interviewer will be, what questions do you have for me or the company? If you have no question, it may come across to the interviewer that you have no interest to the job. I always have a list of questions ready in case nothing comes to my mind during the interview. If I have no question, then the interviewer may think I have no interest to the job or the company. These are the things that I prepare before my interview. Now I have some tips for what happens during the interview. Watch your body language, especially how you sit. Now, I think how you sit really changes the dynamic in the room. If you remember the famous picture of President Obama sitting in the Oval Office with his feet up high, up high on the table, it shows his staying power in the room. Not saying that we should do that during the interview, but you should sit with confidence. Especially when you're nervous, you should not sit uptight because it shows how nervous you are. You can relax thinking it's a conversation. You can lean forward a bit to show that you are curious of what that person's saying. It's important to remember it's a conversation, a dialogue, not a Q&A. Interviewers or your teammates, they don't want to work with robots or someone who's desperate for jobs. The best interviews I've had are almost like a conversation and dialogue. At the end, we're almost like friends. Those are the best interviews. During a conversation, you will share your story, but you will pause occasionally to see how that person's reacting, whether they're curious, whether they want to ask a question. So don't go full in and tell your story fast and trying to get it done with. One time, I was trying to tell all my stories that I've prepared, trying to show how good of a person I am. So I was just going fast and went all the way with it. Well, we all know that result was not pretty. It's really important that it's a conversation, it's a dialogue, so it should go back and forth, not you answering all the questions. Something I found people often neglected is the handshake. A good handshake leaves a good first impression. A nice handshake is not too loose or too tight. You can shake the hand up and down a few times and let it go. Don't grab it for too long. That's creepy. Also, avoid holding only parts of the hand. That may say that you are weak. practice it with your family, friends, or roommates. At the end of the interview, I recommend ask for email addresses so you can follow up after the interview. You can send them a thank you note to express your gratitude for their time and consideration. It's optional, but there are a few times that I briefly touched on their concerns or add a few more insights about myself in that thank you notes. I can only recall how tough it was for me when I don't have a job, but keep trusting. I know there's a plan for you and there's light at the end of the tunnel. That is part 2 to my job search series. I have another one on the resume guide, so if you haven't watched that one, definitely check it out. I like to share things that I've struggled and my learnings from it. So stay tuned. See you next time.